Hello, happy World Fringe Day to you all. We've got three amazing Fringe festivals here today. We've got Ventnor, Shenandoah, and the Edinburgh Festival Fringe Society shown here as well. So can you all say hello and introduce yourselves and your festivals? So why don't Jack, you go first?
Hello, I'm Jack from the Ventnor Fringe Festival on the Isle of Wight, south coast of the coast of England, and holding the Campus Bari runs all of our ticketed events.
You're quite quiet, Jack, I'll just say, so you might want to shout a bit louder. That's better. Shona, how about you? Probably the most well-known Fringe in the world.
Hi Holly, hi Kath, happy World Fringe Day. I'm Shona and I am the Chief Executive of the Edinburgh Festival Fringe Society, and we're literally on the countdown to Edinburgh Fringe in August, so yeah, it's a bit manic here.
Yeah. And you've got a staggering number of shows this year.
Yeah, we're kind of up on 3,600 and something. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Carmel, introduce yourself and your Fringe Festival.
Hello, Internet. My name is Carmel Clavin. I'm the Directrix and Grand High Poobah of the Shenandoah Fringe Festival in Virginia, USA.
Thanks. And you were saying, how many shows have you got in your festival?
We usually have around 14, but we're actually skimming it down, and we're only going to have 10 this year.
So we were saying this year we've probably got the largest and the smallest Fringe in the room right now.
I know.
And then one in the middle. How many shows do you have, Jack, at Ventnor Fringe?
We have about 70 ticketed shows.
Yeah. 70 ticketed.
Including free.
Yeah, brilliant. And so you've told us a little bit about your Fringe festivals, but can you tell us kind of the impact that it has on the towns that you're in and how that town has embraced or city has embraced your Fringe festival? Jack, go ahead.
Well, we're in a very small town with only 6,000 people, so the Fringe really takes over the whole town, kind of doubles the population, and we have everywhere from the local laundrettes hosting an improvised hip-hop night through to locals opening up their front rooms and having events in there, so it really transforms every street. It's, yeah, it takes over Ventnor for the week, which is great.
Can I come hang out at Ventnor Fringe? That sounds awesome.
Good.
It looks amazing. Now, Jack and Shona will never visit each other's Fringe festivals, unfortunately, because they're on at exactly the same time. Edinburgh Fringe obviously has a massive impact not only on Edinburgh City, but also Scotland and England and etc. How do you manage that in Edinburgh?
Yeah, and as you know, Holly, it isn't just the Fringe. We've also got the Edinburgh International Festival, the Book Festival, the Tattoo and the Art Festival all happening in August as well. So, you know, it's incredible. It's amazing because the whole city becomes this kind of massive community of creatives and of artists and promoters and audiences all combined. So the impact on Edinburgh is enormous, and people travel from all over Scotland and, as you say, from all over the UK to both be participants and audience members. So, but someday, Jack, we may do something different and be in different jobs, and I'll get to go to your Fringe.
Oh, that's a good point. And Carmel, how about you? How does it impact on where you are?
So, like I said earlier, we have a very boutique festival. It's very small, and it's a town full of mostly music arts, so classical music and bluegrass and old-time music. It's very, very well represented here, but we also have a lot of Shakespeare here. So the Fringe Arts is still figuring out what it is in the town, and the town is still kind of introducing itself to the Fringe. And I don't know if you know this, but the South in America is it has a long memory, and it's very steeped in tradition and this is the way we do things. So to get people to start to do new things and to start to trust new things is a big battle. So we've had a lot of support. I've lived in this town for 10 years. We've only been doing the Fringe for 3. So a lot of what's been successful with our Fringe is because of personal connection, literally going into a shop and saying like, hey, you've known me for a while, would you mind if we did a thing here? And them going like, well, I trust you, so yeah. So in the beginning it was a lot of the town was trusting me, and now the town is beginning to trust the festival. So I think from an impact perspective, that's huge to me. Because it's such a slow climb.
It's been a bit of a kind of continuing conversation about the cultural ecology of a town and how audiences accept art. And I think that's probably one of the things that Fringe is very successful at, is kind of changing opinion on what kind of culture they like, what art they like. And you know, lots of Fringe festivals. So this is, you know, take a chance, take a risk on something new. That's quite a lot of people's lots of mantras that come out through Fringe. How does that affect Ventnor? I see Jack has changed into somebody new. Tell us how Ventnor Fringe has changed Ventnor to audiences.
Well, apparently quite a lot to the audiences. We first started when we were 18, and we probably did it on a budget of, I don't remember, it was probably under £1,000, and about 200 people came. About 3,000 to 4,000 people come now, so it was very much from the kind of a back room, or we organised it in the pub, to being a really established thing, because we have our own venue here in Ventnor, which is where we are now. And people can visit us any day and talk to us, and we create projects. And we were basically kids, and now this is our career. So
we met you, didn't we, at the Theatres Trust?
We did. And that's one thing that you've achieved, isn't it, through the Fringe, as a year-round arts venue in a town where there wasn't one before.
Yeah, definitely. There'd never been anything like this here before. We have Fringe-style theatre throughout the year, so we have productions coming over. We have Isle of Wight artists working with mainland artists, which can be a bit of an issue here with this collaboration. So, it's changed. Yeah, it's changed.
Cool. And Shona, why do you think Fringe festivals are important? What do they do?
Well, I just think they kind of blow out of the water all the kind of old cliches about what is art and what isn't art. And Fringe festivals, I think, whilst we're all very unique and have our own kind of identities, it's important to remember that the Edinburgh Fringe started with just 8 companies. And it's kind of, it's grown over 70 years, but still stays true to that principle of any artist, any creative who wants to have a voice can have that platform to have a voice on the Fringe. And I think that's the kind of thing that binds us all together, is that sense of like a cultural democracy that underpins the work that we all do. It's why I was interested in coming to work in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival as opposed to any other festival, because I just love that principle of open access, uncensored, and nobody, there's no single definition of what is or what isn't art, and that's just a joyous thing for me personally.
Yeah, and there's not really anything that completely defines Fringe either, in a very similar way. You can't define what Fringe is, because they're all very different and pop up for different reasons and run by different people with different intentions.
Yeah.
One question I want to ask you, Shona, is in a festival of 3,500 shows, how do you choose what to see?
Oh, that's really bloody hard. Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I'm like any other member of the public. You kind of, you know, again, I think it's the joy of the Edinburgh Fringe is you become the curator of your own festival. Yeah. And, you know, so So it kind of is really down to sort of personal interest and personal preference. But I'm as kind of likely to be caught by an efficient flyer on the Royal Mile or Square as anybody else. So I've seen many shows as a result of somebody just pushing that flyer into my hand and catching my attention just at the right particular moment. But yeah,
moment.
I try to do exactly what you said, Holly. I mean, our campaign this year is Into the Unknown, and I think, like you say, that's the joy of Fringe. You can really just step out of your comfort zone and go see something that just normally wouldn't even be in your kind of landscape, and just be surprised and be amazed and sometimes be horrified, let's be honest, as well.
Yeah, it's true. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Carmel, why is Fringe important to you?
Fringe is a home for the homeless in the arts community. I find that it's because it's a platform and a format as opposed to a specific venue or a specific need, that it allows for people to bring, you know, not just an entire show that's polished and ready, but stuff that's in progress or stuff that needs an audience, it's never had an audience, or it's people who have you know, like three minutes of choreography and like no show to put it in. Like we create these spaces between all of our festivals that fit the needs of our localities, and even, you know, huge international festivals have created this format that is welcoming and magnetic. And in smaller towns, I think it's what is Fringe is answered a little bit more specifically to the region that they find themselves in. And in larger places it's different, but I think it's important for those reasons, because it gives people a place to go and a place to hope for or dream for. I know that sounds like big and woo woo, but the idea of like, well, I can't possibly put something on by myself with my own resources, with my own steam, but there is this place that would root for me from beginning to end, that would help me from beginning to end, and has all of the things ready for me to access from beginning to end in a way that some people just aren't willing or capable of organizing. And like, that's our job as producers, is to create a system where everyone can succeed, both patrons and artists.
Yeah, quite. Here. Before we go, we're not going quite yet, but in a minute we will. What one piece of advice would you give to a performer or an audience member who wants to come to your festival? Let's go to Ventnor Fringe.
I think with that risk-taking stuff, that's very true. We are a bit different to big fringes, so I would say it's a beautiful chaos, and you should embrace that. And it's trying something different. And our tag this year is the weird and wonderful. So yeah, just embrace weird and wonderful. Yeah,
brilliant. I love that beautiful chaos.
Yeah,
I can see that. How about you, Shona? What one bit of advice would you say to an artist who's never experienced it before?
Oh, I think the kind of best advice that we could give, just purely because of the scale of Edinburgh, is be really clear about what you want from it. Be really clear about why you're coming to the Edinburgh Fringe. Really, really take up the support of all the services that the Fringe Society can provide, with advice and participant support. And yeah, just know what you're coming to and know why, and we can really help you with that. And I think if you understand the why you want to come to Edinburgh, everything else falls into place after.
Yeah, love it. That's brilliant. How about you, Carmel?
So what's funny is, again, from the largest to the smallest, like, it's the same bit of advice, I would say, that Shona just gave, is like, know what you're in for. So for artists and for patrons. So for artists, like, it's a small festival, and it's and we're a profit sharing festival. So it's to make sure that everybody's on the same page about how it works, but also who you can expect to come. It's a small town. Our audiences are small. And what I've heard is more about, you know, like the feeling and the tone and the family aspect that comes from being a participant. It's much more about the experience of being there in it with other people. For patrons, it's know what you're in for and know why you're coming, and that it's not something that you can get year round. It's something that's special just to April. And what I would really love is for people to cultivate the, like, I can't go anywhere that weekend, that's Fringe, because I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust that it's going to be awesome. So yeah, it's funny. It's the same advice.
No, that is amazing, isn't it? Yeah. From 10 to 3,500, it's the same advice. I think that's why Fringes are so great. I want to thank you all very much for coming in to our broadcast today, and wish you all a very happy World Fringe Day.
Happy World Fringe!
Happy World Fringe!
And we will see you very soon. We'll see you in August, Jonah, as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. See you, Holly.
Bye, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.